Hello, everyone, and welcome to the U.S. Immigration News. First of all, we wish you all happy holidays as we approach the final days of 2025 and look ahead to the start of 2026. Many people connected to the U.S. immigration system are carrying a familiar mix of emotions. For some, it's relief. For others, cautious optimism. And for many families, it's a quiet hope that the new year might finally bring movement after months or even years of waiting. Immigration news is often dominated by uncertainty, delays, and fear. So when genuine good news begins to surface, it's important to pause and understand what it actually means for you. Right now, as the year comes to a close, there are several developments across work permits, green cards, deportation priorities, and visa availability that point towards stability and, in some areas, real progress. This does not mean every challenge has disappeared, and it does not mean the system has suddenly become fast or simple. But it does mean that, for many immigrants, the end of 2025 brings clarity, predictability, and, in some cases, long-awaited forward movement. This video is about grounding ourselves in that reality. Not hype, not rumors, and not unrealistic promises, but a clear, calm look at where the system stands as we enter 2026. If you are waiting for a work permit, hoping for green card movement, concerned about deportation risk, or watching visa availability closely, this moment matters to you. Let's start with work permits, because for millions of people, employment authorization is not just a document. It's the ability to work legally, support a family, maintain dignity, and plan a future without fear. As 2025 comes to an end, there is encouraging news in this area. Over the past year, employment authorization processing has become more predictable for many categories. While timelines still vary, a growing number of applicants have seen faster approvals compared to previous years, especially for renewals. One of the most important positive trends has been the continued use and expansion of automatic extensions for certain work permit categories. This has allowed many applicants to continue working lawfully while waiting for renewal decisions, reducing the devastating gap periods that once forced people out of jobs through no fault of their own. For workers and employers alike, this stability has been critical, and heading into 2026, these protections remain in place. Another piece of good news is the improved digital processing of work permit applications. Electronic filing and internal system upgrades have helped reduce bottlenecks that once slowed everything down. While the system is far from perfect, fewer applicants are experiencing complete silence on their cases, and more are receiving updates, receipts, and approvals within clearer timeframes. For people who rely on that card to pay rent and care for children, that predictability alone is meaningful progress. For those tied to green card processes, the end of 2025 also brings cautious optimism. Green card adjudications have continued moving, even during a year filled with policy, debates, and administrative adjustments. Family-based green cards, employment-based green cards, and adjustment of status cases have not stopped. In fact, many applicants have seen steady movement, particularly in categories where visa numbers have been available and backlogs have slowly eased. What's important to understand here is that green card progress is often uneven. Some categories move faster than others, and some countries experience longer waits due to per-country limits. But heading into 2026, one of the most positive developments is consistency. Cases are being processed, interviews are being scheduled, and approvals are being issued. That continuity matters, especially after years when uncertainty made it hard to plan anything at all. Another encouraging sign is the ongoing effort to reduce backlogs. While backlogs have not disappeared, the system has shown that it can move large volumes of cases when resources are aligned. Many applicants who feared their cases would be frozen indefinitely have instead seen tangible steps forward. That does not erase the frustration of waiting, but it does reinforce an important point. As the year ends, the system is functioning. Now let's talk about deportations, because this is often where fear is strongest and misinformation spreads fastest. As we approach 2026, one of the most significant pieces of good news is clarity around enforcement priorities. Deportation does not apply equally to everyone, and understanding that distinction is critical. Current enforcement focus remains primarily on individuals with serious criminal convictions or those considered national security threats. For millions of immigrants who are living peacefully, working, studying, and raising families, this clarity reduces fear and allows daily life to continue with less anxiety. This does not mean deportation has ended, and it does not mean no one is at risk, but it does mean that broad random enforcement actions are not the reality many feared. For families who have been living under constant stress, knowing where priorities lie provides some breathing room as they enter the new year. Another important development related to deportations is the continued availability of legal processes and protections. People are still able to pursue relief, apply for benefits, and have their cases heard. Due process remains a core part of the system. That is not something to take lightly. Even in difficult times, the ability to present a case, seek, counsel, and receive a lawful decision is one of the strongest safeguards immigrants have. For many, simply knowing that they are not facing immediate removal allows them to focus on work, education, and family rather than constant fear. As 2025 ends, that stability, even if imperfect, is meaningful good news. Visa availability is another area where the end of the year brings important updates. Visa numbers, whether family-based or employment-based, determine whether cases can move forward. As we approach 2026, several categories have shown improved availability compared to earlier periods. While demand remains high and backlogs still exist, the movement that has occurred has allowed some long-awaiting applicants to finally see progress. This is especially significant for those who track visa bulletins month after month, hoping for forward movement. Even small advances can change lives, allowing adjustment of status filings, work authorization, eligibility, and a clearer path toward permanent residence for families and workers who have been waiting patiently. That movement before the new year feels like a signal that progress, while slow, is real. Another positive factor is transparency. Information about visa availability, processing times, and policy updates has become more accessible. While not always perfectly clear, the ability to check official updates and track changes gives applicants a sense of control that was often missing in the past. As the new year begins, that transparency helps people plan more realistically rather than living in constant uncertainty. What ties all of this together is a broader theme as we head into 2026. Stability. Immigration systems thrive on predictability. And while political debates continue, the day-to-day functioning of the system has shown resilience. Work permits are being issued. Green cards are being approved. Deportation priority. EAs are defined. Visa numbers are moving. None of this means the system is easy, but it does mean it is not collapsing for individuals and families. This stability has real-world consequences. It allows people to renew leases, accept job offers, enroll children in school, and make plans that extend beyond a few weeks at a time. It allows employers to retain workers and universities to welcome students. It allows communities to function. As we look toward the new year, it's also important to recognize the role of preparation. Good news does not replace the need to stay informed and compliant. Keeping documents up to date, responding to notices, and maintaining lawful status where possible remain essential. But good news does change the emotional landscape. It replaces constant fear with cautious confidence. Another encouraging sign as 2025 ends is the growing awareness within immigrant communities. People are better informed than ever before. They know where to find official updates, They understand the importance of legal guidance. They are less likely to rely solely on rumors. That collective knowledge is itself a form of progress because it empowers people to make better decisions for themselves and their families. As we move into 2026, expectations should remain realistic. Processing times will still vary. Policies may still shift. Not every case will move at the same speed, but the direction matters. And right now, that direction includes continuity and, in some areas, improvement. If you are waiting for a work permit, the good news is that the system continues to recognize the importance of employment authorization and is working, however gradually, to keep people working lawfully. If you are waiting for a green card, the good news is that adjudications are continuing and visa availability has not disappeared. If you are worried about deportation, the good news is that enforcement remains focused and due process remains in place. And if you are watching visa availability, the good news is that movement, even incremental, continues. As the year comes to a close, it's worth taking a moment to acknowledge these developments. Immigration news often conditions people to expect the worst, but reality is more complex. Progress does not always come in dramatic announcements. Sometimes it comes quietly through approvals issued, permits renewed, and families allowed to remain together. Entering 2026, the most important thing you can carry with you is clarity. Know where you stand, understand your options, stay informed through official channels, and allow yourself to recognize when good news appears, even if it arrives slowly. The end of a year is always a time for reflection. And for many immigrants, that reflection includes recognizing resilience. You made it through another year of waiting, planning, and adapting, and as the new year begins, there are genuine reasons to believe that forward movement will continue. This moment is not about false optimism. It's about informed confidence. The system is moving. Opportunities remain, protections exist, and for many, that is exactly the kind of good news worth carrying into 2026. That's all we have for this bulletin. The U.S. Immigration News Channel provides all necessary visa information and procedures for your U.S. immigration journey. It is important to understand the United States immigration processing steps, visa application requirements, processing times, forms, fees, and more. We will continue to provide all information about U.S. visitor visas, such as B1 and B2, work visas such as Loan A, Loan B, and H-1B, student visas, green cards, immigrant visas EB1, EB2, EB3, EB4, and EB5, and family immigrant visas. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the U.S. Immigration News Channel. Thank you for WATC. Hing, and we'll see you in the next video.